Today we will be talking about acceptance and values. My name is Riley and I'm a graduate student in the ECU Clinical Health Psychology program. We are a team of health psychologists who help people change their thinking and behaviors in ways that enhance both their mental and physical health. Our team understands that emotional well-being is closely tied to physical health and plays a key role in making and maintaining healthy changes. We know that you're being asked to make a lot of adjustments as part of your health journey, and we want you to know that we're here to support you every step of the way. Our support extends beyond simply helping you live longer. We're here to help you enjoy a greater quality of life overall. This means caring about your emotional well-being as well as your physical health. We're committed to providing you with the skills and resources you need, and if necessary, connecting you with additional support. We want to be a resource you can rely on as you work towards your goals. Let's start by thinking about acceptance. What comes to mind when you think of acceptance? Many people initially see acceptance as a form of giving up or agreeing with something difficult. But in reality, acceptance has a deeper meaning, especially when it comes to facing challenging situations or emotions. First, let's clarify what acceptance does not mean. Acceptance does not mean that you've given up. Accepting something challenging is not a sign of defeat or surrender. Instead, it's a way of approaching the experience with a new mindset. It also doesn't mean that you're okay with what you're going through. Acceptance isn't about forcing yourself to feel okay with painful situations. You don't have to feel at peace with what's happening to still practice acceptance. And finally, acceptance doesn't mean you no longer have painful thoughts or feelings. These feelings may still be there. Acceptance is simply about making space for them rather than trying to push them away. So what does acceptance mean? Acceptance means being open to painful or uncomfortable experiences. Instead of avoiding these experiences, struggling against them, or letting them overwhelm us, we allow them to exist. This doesn't mean that we like them. It simply means that we create room for these experiences without letting them control our lives. In many ways, acceptance can help us live by our values. When we accept difficult emotions or situations, we're free to focus on what truly matters to us. By making space for discomfort, we can act in ways that align with our values, even when things feel challenging. Imagine yourself caught in quicksand. As quicksand pulls you down inch by inch, what's your natural reflex? Most people would instinctively start to struggle, wiggle and pushing with their hands, trying to pull themselves out. But as we know, the more you struggle, the deeper you sink. And often, as people feel themselves sinking further, panic sets in, leading to even more frantic efforts to escape, and down they go. But what if there was a different approach? In quicksand, the most effective response isn't to fight. Instead, it's to stretch out your arms and legs and lie back, allowing yourself to float on the surface. This requires getting in full contact with the quicksand itself, being present with what you're experiencing without struggling. By spreading out and relaxing, you can stay afloat. This is similar to what we're doing when we practice acceptance. Just like in quicksand, acceptance encourages us to get in full contact with our situation and with how we're feeling. Rather than struggling against difficult experiences, trying to control them, or making them go away, acceptance asks us to simply let them be. This doesn't mean that we like these experiences, but we stop fighting them. And when we do that, when we make room for them instead of resisting, we often find we can navigate these challenging feelings more peacefully, just as we'd stay afloat in quicksand. When we think about accepting chronic illness, it may feel counterintuitive. almost like it goes against common sense. After all, dealing with a chronic illness can bring a range of difficult challenges, from physical pain and discomfort to fatigue and restrictions on what we can do, eat, or participate in. Naturally, we might want to resist or push away these limitations. But the goal of acceptance isn't to ignore or downplay these difficulties. Instead, acceptance involves creating a life that is meaningful and fulfilling around the illness, pain, and any negative emotions or thoughts that come along with it. Rather than striving for a life entirely free of pain and illness, acceptance encourages us to focus on finding value and purpose in our lives, even with these challenges. Research supports this approach. Studies show that greater acceptance of chronic illness is linked to a better quality of life and less distress. When we shift away from a mindset of, I want this illness gone, to one of, how can I live a full life with this illness? We often experience less emotional struggle and a greater sense of peace. So, rather than fighting the reality of illness, acceptance empowers us to work with it, allowing us to focus on what truly matters to us and find purpose despite the challenges we face. In cardiac and pulmonary rehab, many of you are being asked to make some significant changes to your lifestyle. Changes like eating healthier, exercising more, and possibly adopting new habits. And I want to acknowledge right away that these changes aren't always easy. Lifestyle changes can be especially challenging if they feel unpleasant or cause discomfort. Take exercise, for example. Physical activity can leave you out of breath or make your heart beat faster. For some, these sensations can feel uncomfortable or even a bit scary, especially if they're new or unexpected. Another challenge comes when these changes don't fully align with your personal values or the things that feel important to you. If a lifestyle change feels out of sync with what you value, whether that's spending time with family, relaxing, or following long-standing routines, it's natural to feel resistance. The key to making these changes sustainable is finding ways to align them with your values. Understanding how healthier eating or regular exercise can support what matters most to you can make the process feel more meaningful and help you stay motivated. Let's start by defining what values are. A value is essentially your judgment of what is important and fulfilling in your life. It reflects what you truly care about and what you consider to be meaningful. These values shape the choices you make and the directions you take in life. Your values don't come out of nowhere. They are shaped by your life experiences. Over time, the people you meet, the challenges you face, the lessons you learn, and the beliefs you form all contribute to the values you hold. These values are incredibly important because they guide what is going to feel meaningful, enjoyable, and fulfilling. When you're living in alignment with your values, you're more likely to engage in activities that resonate with you, bring you joy, and contribute to your overall sense of well-being. The bottom line is this: when we live according to our values, we are happier and healthier. By making choices that reflect our core values, we can lead more authentic, satisfying lives filled with purpose. On this slide, you'll see a list of values that others who have participated in CBPR have identified as important to them. Take a moment to read through them and see if any resonate with you or stand out as particularly meaningful. Please feel free to pause the presentation here for a few moments. When facing challenges, it's easy to become consumed by what we can't control. However, by emphasizing our values, we can shift our focus away from things beyond our control and redirect our energy towards what we can change. This shift is crucial for maintaining our sense of agency and well-being. Values provide us with a sense of purpose, and this purpose becomes even more important during difficult times. When we align our actions with what truly matters to us, we can find meaning and strength even in the face of adversity. This sense of purpose helps us stay grounded, knowing that our efforts are directed towards something that holds deep significance. Values also help us keep our long-term goals in view. When we face setbacks, it's easy to get discouraged or feel like we're losing progress. But by staying connected to our values, we can embrace these challenges as part of the process rather than as roadblocks. Our values remind us that growth isn't always linear, and they empower us to stay focused on the actions and attitudes that promote progress no matter the obstacles. Let's look at an example together. Bob has been working hard for a promotion at his job. Despite his efforts, the position was given to someone else. At first, he felt disappointed and frustrated. However, he chose to focus on his values of integrity and personal growth. He congratulated his colleague, displaying integrity, and developed skills in his own areas of weakness, focusing on personal growth. The takeaway here is that by aligning his response with his values, he was able to accept the situation and focus on his continued growth rather than letting the setback define him. Let's look at another example. Sandy recently experienced a heart attack, and her life has since felt turned upside down. While she initially struggled with feelings of anger and frustration about her condition, she realized that she deeply values resilience and connections with others. She embraced her values and decided to face her health condition with resilience, educating herself and making lifestyle adjustments. She stayed connected with friends and family and sought their support. The takeaway here is that her commitment to resilience as a core value helped her accept her new reality. She also leaned on her value of connection with others to build a supportive network that guided her through the tough transitions. Take a few moments to reflect and engage in discussion with your fellow CVPR participants on the following questions. What is most important to me? Are my choices and actions in line with what I value? What aspects of my current situation am I struggling to accept? How can I shift my focus to what I can control while accepting what I cannot? How can I align my actions with my core values while adapting to the changes in my life?